When my wife Sarah told me she was going out for dinner with her boss, I didn't think much of it at first. Her job in marketing often meant client meetings or office gatherings, so it seemed normal. But that evening, something about her tone felt off, too casual, too practiced. The faint smile she wore and the way she avoided my eyes set a knot in my stomach. Before I could say anything, she grabbed her purse and left. At first, I tried to brush it off, telling myself I was overthinking. I wanted to trust her. She'd been working late for weeks, coming home exhausted, blaming tight deadlines. But over time, things changed. She barely spoke to me, skipped family dinners, and constantly had her eyes glued to her phone, grinning at messages that disappeared too quickly. That night, after she left for this supposed dinner, I couldn't ignore my instincts any longer. Half an hour later, I drove to the restaurant she had mentioned. My hands gripped the steering wheel tightly as I parked across the street. And then I saw her not alone. Her boss, Mr. Harris, walked beside her. What shattered me wasn't that they arrived together. It was that he was holding her hand. I sat there, frozen behind the windshield, my heart sinking. They laughed and leaned in close, sharing smiles that used to belong to us. My hand shook, not in anger, but because I finally understood the truth I didn't want to face. She was no longer mine, not in the way that mattered. I didn't confront her that night. I drove home, numb and empty. Hours later, she returned, her perfume lingering in the air, lipstick slightly smudged. I waited on the couch. She froze for a moment before asking softly, "You're still awake?" I nodded. "So, how was dinner with your boss?" Her eyes flickered briefly before she replied, "It was just work. You know that?" I smiled faintly. "Good," I said quietly, "because I had dinner with my lawyer." Her face drained of color. "What?" she whispered. "I had dinner with my lawyer," I repeated calmly. "Seems fair, doesn't it? You have dinner with your boss. I have dinner with my lawyer." Then I looked her straight in the eyes and said, "You call it dinner. I call it divorce." For a few moments, she couldn't speak. Then her voice cracked. "You can't be serious. You're overreacting. It's not what you think." I handed her an envelope. "These are the divorce papers," I said quietly. "Marriage is built on trust, Sarah. You broke it." She sank into a chair, pale, hands trembling. "Please, let me explain," she begged. "He's been helping me with a promotion. That's all. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to worry." I shook my head. "Promotions don't require holding hands," I said. "You should have been honest." Tears streamed down her face, but I felt nothing. The love I had once held for her had been buried under years of disappointment. For so long, I had stood beside her, supported her ambitions, believed in her, but she chose secrecy over honesty. In the days that followed, she tried everything, calls, texts, surprise visits, to convince me nothing had happened. But every word sounded hollow. Once trust is gone, nothing can bring it back. Eventually, I stopped responding. The papers were signed, the house fell silent, and for the first time in months, I felt a strange sense of peace. I later heard she quit her job. Her boss had moved on, leaving her career and reputation in pieces. Maybe it was karma, or maybe life simply catching up. Sometimes I still think back to that night, the moment everything crumbled. One dinner ended a marriage, but it taught me something important. The truth always comes out, no matter how carefully someone tries to hide it. And when people ask what happened between us, I simply say, she had dinner with her boss. I had dinner with my lawyer.